Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday. I like that song. I'm going to have to figure out how to let that play a little bit longer. Happy Sunday. Happy January 7th, first Sunday of this new year. Happy New Year. Happy wherever you are, however you are. I trust that all is well or on its way to being well. I trust that you can hear me. Um, there's really no way for me to know if that is what's going on other than hello love other than me telling you or asking you, can you hear me? Hello love, that's my love, y'all. um, Before we get into what 2024 will look like in this space, I would really, really, really love the opportunity for everyone, no matter whether you are watching live on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, or if you are watching the replay. I would really love for all of us to take the opportunity. Hey, my South African sister, how are you? Oh, look how beautiful your profile pic is. Um, I really would like for all of us to take the opportunity, because I don't know if you have, I know I haven't really taken the opportunity to just breathe in the fact that we have made it into a new space, that we have been selected to transition into a new energy. And if you have been selected and chosen to be in a new energy, that means that there is something for you in this new energy, in this new reality. There's something for you to do. It's my belief that we all have a job, we all have assignments. Maybe assignments is a better word. We all have assignments. And if you have been transferred from one energy into another energy, it means the assignment comes with you because it is not finished yet. Or it's a new assignment, or it's for you to discover what that assignment is. And maybe it's not for you to complete it. Maybe it's for you to create it for someone else to complete it because no one else has created it. Who cares? You are here. I am here. We are here in this new energy, in this new year. And if it is so, there is an assignment for us. Let us get about the business of discovering what that is, what those assignments are, because I believe it's not just one thing. I don't believe it's just me by myself. I believe I am supposed to connect with others, and our assignments are either aligned or they need each other to survive. And so let's take a moment to say thank you to the Creator, to all of the energies who pushed us forward into this new reality. Thank you for the assignment. Thank you for understanding that it is upon us, it is for us. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's assignment, it's ours uniquely. And that for whatever reason, it is believed and understood that I am the one, that you are the ones, that we are the ones to complete or to create the assignment, whatever it may be, whatever they may be. And it could be your assignment today is to be here to say hello and to make me feel good. Or maybe my assignment is to say hello and to make you feel good. We have no idea what it could be or the magnitude that it could have. You have no idea the comments, the gestures, or your presence, what it might mean to others. They may never get to tell you, if I didn't see you today, I don't know if I was going to make it. They may never get to say to you, you posted something or you said something or you walked by and the energy that you contained was enough for me to feel at peace. You may never know that. But if you are not operating from a place of understanding what your power is, you might be missing your assignment. You may be, laying down on the job, and we don't want to do that any longer. We want to sit fully into all of the things that we are here to do. We have no idea how much time we have. We have no idea how many resources will be available to us, but we ain't going to figure it out if we don't operate from a place of, I know I'm supposed to be here, and that there are particular things that I am supposed to engage in, and particular people I am supposed to interact with, and particular messages that I am supposed to bring forth. we all have a responsibility to one another to be aware of our assignments and that we are on assignment at all times. Even when we are at rest and sleeping, it doesn't end. And I am grateful that for whatever reason, I'm going into my 53rd year of life. That's 53 years, calendar years of assignments that some of them I was aware of, some of them I was not, but as I become more aware and acknowledge their presence, they are revealed to me in ways that exceed my understanding at times. For instance, right before we started. I started a little late because there's always a last minute, oh, should you do this? Should you do that? Can you read this? Can you read that? There's always, as I call them, shenanigans going on in the background. But there was a clear message that I got this morning that I want to share with you. And then we'll talk about what Power 24 is. We'll talk about the new look, the new song, the new. So this morning, I'm walking around the house and I'm noticing that some of my plants are doing well and some of them are hanging on by a thread. And what was most noticeable to me is one particular plant. It is a angel wing begonia. And for those of you who are plant parents, you know that certain varieties of plants are a little bit more labor intensive than other ones. If you got a pathos, you know that you can ignore that thing for 6 months and it's still going to live. And then you have those plants who really need your time and attention. So my angel wing begonia started out as a just a piece of a friend. A friend gave me a piece of this plant. My mother always loved begonia, so I, wanted this plant to honor my mother. And so for about 3 years, I had this plant sitting in water, sitting in dirt, and it wasn't doing anything. It literally was just hanging on, maybe four leaves, and that's it. And I would admire the four leaves and, like, I guess that's all we're going to get out of this plant. Well, sometime during the pandemic, that thing decided to turn into a monster and it started to grow and bloom and it was so gorgeous and I was so excited. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, after all this time, all I've done is put you in dirt, water you, talk to you, and now you decide that you want to, get big, grow big." Well, over the past couple of weeks, I've been looking at that plant. That plant actually turned into two plants because it grew so big. I was able to propagate it and turn it into two plants, and they both were doing well. But over the last couple of weeks, I'm like, y'all don't look too good. What's going on over here? And the reality is, I was neglecting them. I wasn't giving them the same time and attention and love that I was when they were tiny and nothing was going on. And so here I am this morning trying to salvage the plant. It's like it's barely got leaves on it. It's hanging over. The soil looks not just dry, but dry and maybe some fungus. It just was a mess. And here I am trying to salvage this plant because of all of this time and attention that I took to get it to this point. But I neglected the plant. I neglected the plant. And so I was like, there's only one thing you can do, and that's to start over. And so the four little leaves at the top of this monstrous plant, I had to cut them off, put them in water, and we got to start all over again. I had to dig up the roots. The roots were dried out. The plant stalk, it's done. You can't salvage something that you have been neglecting no matter what you think you're going to do to it. You can't just water, water, water and think it's just going to replenish and go back to its glory. It was dead. The plant was dead. And so I thought about that. I was like, you got to start all over. And I didn't want to cut the leaves off because it just felt like all of that time to now go back to where you began. But then I heard and I understood that sometimes you got to start over. And you cannot be afraid to start from the bottom, particularly if you've prayed for something, you got it, and then you neglected it. And how many of us are trying to salvage and piece together things that we have neglected that we have neglected. And now that we notice it's not thriving, we trying to salvage it, pin it together, tape it together. My father was good for trying to get some duct tape out and tape things together. No, homie, you were not taking care of it. And now that it is broken, you're trying to piece it back together to its former glory. Those days are over. The time and attention that it needed, that time has passed. So you got to start over. And so my message to you today is do not be afraid to start over. Now, it may take another 3 years, another 4 years for that plant to get to the point of where it was. But because I neglected it, I have to take full accountability that we got to start over. And so I don't know how many of you in your life have had to start over, whether it's you were in a marriage that didn't work and now you got to start over. You were in a job that didn't work and now you back to entry level. You were in some space, time, whatever. You were in a place where you thought you got what you prayed for, but what you forgot about was the accountability to keep that thing sustainable. Sometimes we pray for things, we get them, and then we forget about the work that it took to get to this place, and we get complacent and we don't want to put in the same time and effort. That poor plant didn't do anything to me. Didn't do anything to me other than exist. And all I had to do was keep giving it the same water, the same attention, the same love. So I had to pull all my plants together, put them on a table, and I had to say, listen, I have not been a good plant parent. I have not been a good plant mama. Let me give everybody what they need. Let me talk to y'all like I was talking to y'all when you were little tiny things. And I just got excited when I saw the roots. And I'm like, you about to get some dirt. And I'm running out and getting pots and putting all of the things that we do to cultivate and get the things that we desire. And then we get them and we forget. And then when they have been neglected, here we are trying to make it work. No, you got to start over. But don't be afraid to start over. The same time, attention, and focus that got you to that point, now you are going to do it with experience and hopefully a whole lot more accountability to say, I cannot neglect the things that I prayed for. I have to be appreciative that is not just a one shot thing. This is something that these plants they looking to me to keep them alive. They can't do it on their own. And if it is something that I'm not going to be committed to, then give them to somebody else who's going to take the time and attention. And that's not just for plants. That's for other things in your life. If you are not going to give the things in your life the time and attention and focus that they deserve, then stop. Leave them alone, give it to somebody else, or just stop doing it. And so I guess my message today is about do not be afraid to start over and accountability. Hello, beautiful, gorgeous lady. Hey, Sil, sister in love. Yes, do not be afraid to start over because how many of us have had to do it? And when you're starting over with the experience that you did not have the first time, you should feel even more powerful. It's like, okay, now I know what is required of me and who I need to be to sustain this. I was also working on, I was doing a lot of sleeping yesterday, but I was also working on goals that I want for myself for this year. And I recognized that some of the goals that I was setting, they were like teeny tiny little, goals. I was like, wait a minute. We are too advanced in age, experience, intelligence, wisdom for our dreams to be looking like this. I've been here too long. I've been on this planet too long for my dreams to be looking like this. So I had to scratch them out. I actually have them right here. Wrote them in my notebook, had to scratch them out. I was like, no, you need to dream bigger. You need to dream bigger so that you can ask yourself the question, who will I have to become in order for this dream to be realized? And if I don't have it, then I need to be honest with myself and maybe give it to somebody else. Like I said earlier, maybe your assignment is not for you to complete, but for you to create and hand off to somebody else. You could still be okay with that. I hope, I pray. I'm looking at things that I've started in my life that I may never see the completion of, but maybe it was for my children to complete or my grandchildren to complete. I can still be proud that maybe I was the architect that put the framework together, hand it off to someone else, and they will be able to do what I may not be able to complete in my life. Doesn't mean that you give up and stop, but be honest. I may never be able to complete this thing or see it all the way through, but if I keep pouring into it, somebody else might pick up that baton and carry it all the way through. So, I didn't know what else to call this year other than Power 24 because at this big age, I said to myself, Yolanda, it's time to stop playing small. It's time to stop that. You've seen too much, you've lived through too much, you have acquired way too much experience, knowledge, wisdom, pain, suffering, and healing for you to be playing small. And what's small to me may not be small to anyone else. It might be relative to where you are in your life, but I know some of y'all personally, and I know at what point in your life you are at. If you are at that point where you're like, you know what, we've been playing games too long, it's time to get very, very serious about my assignment and how I show up in the world. And why do I think it's bothering me so much? Why do I think it's on my mind 24/7? Because it's in you. It's literally living in your body like you are the host for this thing. You are feeding it, you are giving it the light that it needs. It's in your consciousness. It's not there by accident. It's not someone else's, it's yours. And you might have been feeding it, breadcrumbs when it needed a whole meal for it to live. And that's how I feel about the things that I was writing yesterday. I was like, no wonder you were writing small things because you don't believe that you have the capability. You don't believe that you have the power. You don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, everything around you is going to look small. Let me say that again. If you don't believe in your own power, then everything around you is going to look small because that's the energy that you are going to be giving to the things in your life. Small energy. Whew, don't you love that question, Sil? Who will I have to become in order for this dream to be realized? So it's very, very important for us to write things down because we can hold the vision in our mind and it's nice up there. It's big and live and in color, but when you start writing stuff down, it gets real. And so yesterday I wrote a little tiny goal and it didn't even phase me. I was like, well, you can do that. And it's like, write down what you really want. And when I wrote it down, it felt so big, so expansive, it scared me. I feel like I broke out in a sweat. And I'm like, that because that's where you're at in your life. You are creating goals and visions that make you sweat, not the kind that make you yawn, not the kind that you could do in your sleep, the kind that require you to actually work, the kind that require you to actually focus and have some attention and eliminate some things for your from your life that are getting in the way because that vision is not going to leave you. Or you tell yourself, well, not me. I can't. I tried before. And maybe you did try before, but now you are trying with a different energy. You are here. You are present. It's time for you, for all of us, to tap into the power that is living within us, to create these things, to abide by the assignment. Happy New Year, my love. Happy New Year. Yeah, we got to stop with the playing small because it serves no purpose. The other thing about playing small, it doesn't push other people. I am so inspired when I see my friends, family, and even people I don't know who are doing things where I'm like, oh my gosh, that must have taken a lot of work. And these are people who are not, I remember Jay Z said one time, we think that genius is like, you got it, not you, you got it, not you. No, it's in every single one of us. And so when we see people doing particular things, we're like, wow, they must really have something that I don't. And I'm not saying that there are not individuals who have privilege. I know that I'm a privileged individual in some regard. and have resources available to me that not all people have. But if you are living and breathing and you have a belief within yourself and you align yourself with the energies that support that vision, there's nothing you cannot do. I just believe that. It I'm not talking about how long it's going to take you. I'm not talking about what you have to do. Your pathway might be different than someone else's. Your acquired resources might be different than someone else's. It may take you longer. But if you are consistent and committed, like I was talking about with the plant, I was consistent and committed to that plant. It took 3 years for it to do what it normally would do. Maybe it needed to get comfortable with me to see if I was going to be consistent and committed. Maybe the plant was like, I would bloom for you, but I don't know if you're going to continuously feed me. And until we got to the point where the plant was trusting me, like, okay, she has been consistent for 3 years. I guess now I can grow. Now I can bloom. And then what did I do? Neglected it and ignored it. Now, I don't know if it's going to bloom and grow like it did the first time, but I know it's my responsibility to create the conditions and the environment to make it so. If I do that, then I have to believe that it is going to do what plants do, what all nature does. When you create an environment for growth, things will grow. But if you have an environment where you're not paying attention, where your focus and attention is over here, over there, or you're all in everybody else's business and not paying attention to your own, how are you supposed to grow when you are not pouring and cultivating yourself? We'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, that thing will keep you up at night. It's like, did I pay attention to myself today? You ever get ready to go to bed and you're like, oh my gosh, I have done so much for so many people today. I never considered that I needed something. How many of us have gone to bed, getting ready to go to bed, and you're like, I didn't even eat today. I didn't drink enough water. I didn't exercise. I didn't read anything. Like you are ready to go to rest and you didn't give you the time and attention that you gave everything else. I am glad that it's a perfect conversation for you today. Power 24 in yes. Yes. So I had patience and commitment. We don't do well with patience right now because we live in a time where everything is given to us like that. For those of us who are of a certain age and remember when we had to wait for things, remember when if you were lucky and you had a set of encyclopedias in your house and then they became irrelevant because so many things had changed and you had to wait for the next year for the encyclopedia to come out, or you had to buy additional books to complete the encyclopedia. There was a time when we had to wait on information. We had to wait to see how things were going to happen. We had to put correspondence in the mail and send it to somebody and wait for them to send it back to see what the reply was going to be. Now everything is like this. And when your consciousness gets used to everything being like this, patience feels like punishment. But things that are natural have to take time to grow. You plant a seed on Monday. If you're out there on Friday looking for the roots and everything else, it's a lesson in patience. All things that are natural take time. It takes time. And we have to get to a point where we're remembering things that are good and natural and organic will take time. We want things to be like this, immediate. And when they're not, we're on to the next, on to the next. I know that's your story, Miss Penny. I know that you spent a lot of time taking care of your family, taking care of other people. And I always say that's a very noble characteristic to have. But one of the questions that I always ask people that I'm coaching one on one is why do you get the least of you and you are expecting the most out of yourself? We don't even expect the most out of the people that we're pouring into. We give them grace. We don't give ourselves grace. We're like, I should be doing more. I should be creating more. I. How could you possibly when you have not poured into yourself richly? Like y'all, we are like the plants that get neglected and ignored. And then we're trying to salvage. Once we recognize and realize that we're depleted and diminished, then we're trying to hold ourselves together. It's not going to work. That's not how power works. We think of power as something aggressive and, all of the things that we attribute to power: masculinity, aggression, taking over. And that's not always what power is. Power is understanding that in order for things to be a particular way, they need time, they need focus, they need attention, commitment, consistency, love, all of the things that natural things need. And we're not giving those things to ourselves. So, how can we come from a place of power when we haven't been giving ourselves, or we haven't tapped into the power that is within us? Yes. And so that's what we're going to talk about: commitment, commitment. So last year we did inner child healing, and I'm so grateful for the materials that we were able to use. You can go back and look at that. The year before that, when we did all about love, that was all on Clubhouse. And I don't even know if those things were recorded, but it wasn't in this place and space because I didn't have this place or this space. And so for this year, and I mean this entire year, we're going to take our time. Why? Because things that are worth doing are worth taking the time to do it right. This isn't a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, and we're going to see, something happen. I'm not saying it can't happen in 30 days. It can't happen in 60 days. I'm talking about real commitment. If we can commit to a television show, and not the kind that puts out all of the whole season in the same day. Side note: my family and I were watching Percy Jackson on the Disney Channel. I am so upset that they make us wait every week. Like, I have forgotten. I am a woman of a certain age. It's like I have forgotten that television used to be a weekly thing. Like, you would have to wait a week to see what's happening. And sometimes you would have to wait all summer. If the season was over in, like, what, May or June, and then we would have to wait in September to see what happens. It's like I have forgotten that, because we are in a time and a place where they are giving us everything all at once, and we are consuming, consuming, consuming. So we have forgotten how to have patience and how to wait. And so for this particular Power 24, this whole year, we're going to take our time. So let me show y'all something. I got graphics, y'all. Yes, as the elder, keep living. Yes. So, what is going to be required? What is that little black box doing? I don't know what that is, but what is going to be required in this space every Sunday at 1 o'clock? From January, February, and March, the key word is clarity. We cannot tap into the power that's within us if we are not clear about who we are. It will be very difficult for any single one of us to create something grand and big in our lives. And I'm not talking about the size of it, I'm talking about the requirement. Like, who will you have to shift and change into to have the vision, the goal, the accomplishments that you desire for yourself this year? Who are you going to have to be? It's going to require you to change and to shift. And because we are human and we don't always do well with change, it's easier if we take our time. So for January, February, and March, we're going to be very, very clear. We have to we have to gain clarity. We have to gain clarity. I can barely see that. So I'm going to make me smaller and make that bigger. So think about January, February, March, the first 3 months of this year. Think about how you are going to become so clear about what it is that you want and desire that nobody else will be able to tell you any different. And I believe someone last week said, and they were very honest, and we appreciate your honesty in the comments, they didn't even know what they liked. So if I, upon meeting you, said to you, what are some of the things you like to do? Would you have to hem and haw like, I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I'm a husband and no, you as a person, what do you like? What makes your heart sing? Or has it been so long that your heart has sung that you don't even know the melody? What is it about you that makes you come alive, feel alive? What special thing, unique thing about you that you are so clear about that you would be able to name it? If someone came to you and said, listen, I got a magic wand here and I'm about to wipe all of the distractions from your life for 24 hours. What are you going to do? If it takes you a while to think, oh my gosh, and I don't want to hear, well, I would wash up all my laundry, I would do my taxes. I don't want to talk. Those things are important. But if someone was able to give you a moment of peace, yes, Penny, a moment of peace for 24 hours where you didn't have to worry about anyone else, and you had the gift of creating, starting something of your own, are you even clear about what that is? If not, then you have a divine opportunity for January, February, and March to get very, very clear about what that is. How do we do that? We got to go within. We have to have conversations with ourselves. And so I would recommend that everyone either get or have a journal. I know you probably have 20 of them. I have several of them that I've started and not finished. Get something. Make it as pretty as you want. Make it something that when you see it, you know that this is the journal that I'm writing my life in. Ooh, I like the sound of that. This is the space where I am creating the life that I know that I desire and deserve. All of my hopes, wishes, dreams, vision, it's going to go in this one place, in this one place, so that I'm clear about who I am, what I desire, and where my time, attention, and focus is going. If you are not clear about where you are spending your time, then how do you know how much time you need to give to your vision, your gifts, your dreams, your hopes? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? You got to get clear about that. And where would you like to be? Last week, we talked about saying no to things, even if they're good for you, even if you enjoy doing them. And that was something I had to do last year. I had to give up some things that I loved a lot for the bigger picture of things that I really desired because they deserved the time, the focus, and the attention. I deserved the time, the focus, and attention. So if it meant my business had to get less of me than business, you're gonna have to get less of me because there are other things that I want to prioritize in my life. And in order for me to have balance, I can't be in this space more than I'm in this space. I can't be more involved in other people's dreams, visions, and activities. And I'm not pouring into my own dreams, vision, and activities. And when you're a spiritual life coach, you are literally pouring into other people's dreams, visions, and activities. And I wasn't doing that for myself. So business had to go to the side or it had to look different. It had to look different in order for me to prioritize myself. But I had to get very clear first. Well, what is it you want? You say you want this, but you're not putting any attention to it. You're not putting any focus on it. You think it's just going to magically happen. How is that supposed to happen, Sway? How is that supposed to happen that you say you want a spiritual connection with another individual and you ain't being spiritual and you ain't connected because you're so busy doing it for and with and for other people? So you may have to be very clear about what you're going to give up, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, what are the spiritual principles, virtues that are going to be required? You have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself about what your capability is, what your resources, you have to be brutally honest. I would have never been able to do what I did this morning with my plants if I wasn't honest and say, Yolanda, you neglected to keep your end of the bargain. The plant kept up its end of the bargain. It bloomed, it grew. I fell short. So I had to be honest with myself to say, you didn't do what you said you wanted to do. You want to have a house full of plants. Well, you can't have that if you are not taking care of them. I want this. I want that. Who do you have to become in order for those things to be realized? You have to be honest if you have the ability and capability in your life right now for that to happen. The last thing we want anyone to do is to neglect their responsibilities for a pursuit of something. This does not mean you get to turn to your co parent and say, I'm not going to be parenting the kids this year because I got to go after my goals. Now, you might need to have that conversation. One of the things about All About Love, for those of you who read that with us in 2022, was it 22? 2022, was there was a story about a wife and a mother, and she wanted to go back to school to get her master's degree. And she had to have a conversation with her husband. She's like, look, I do all the cooking, I do all the cleaning, I do all the homework with the kids. In order for me to get this master's degree, I need you to take on some of these responsibilities. And he was like, that ain't what I signed up for. And she said, but let me show you the bigger picture. If I get this master's degree, my employment will change, our financial picture will change, and then we will be able to do a lot of more of the things that we would like to do as a family. So I'm asking y'all to sacrifice for this amount of time because the bigger picture is that it's going to be better for all of us. So you might have to have those kind of conversations with the people in your life to say, listen, I don't have the capability to pour into my vision the way things are right now. This is what I need. I don't know if you are in relationships where you're able to do that. Only you will be able to decide if you are in a relationship where you are going to be able to have a conversation to say, there is a vision that's in my bones that I need to pour into. It cannot happen the way things are right now. It's just impossible. So you have to be very, very honest with yourself to say, do I have the capability to pour into this thing? Doesn't mean that you avoid it. It might mean that the plan needs to change. If you say, my children, my family need me in ways that I know I'm not going to be able to change right now, doesn't mean you abandon the vision. It may mean that the vision is going to take longer because of your responsibilities. I'm not telling anyone to abandon any of their responsibilities. I'm telling you to be honest. And again, you might have to write that down so that it's clear. Do I really have the ability, the time, the attention, and the focus to do this? One of the things that I want to do for myself this year is place myself in somebody's school somewhere to study. I don't even know yet. However, there are courses that I signed up for a year ago, 2 years ago that I haven't completed. So I'm telling myself before you put your time and attention on something new, you got to clean up the old stuff. You've got to complete and get whatever you need to get from those two places, three places. Now that I think about it, there are three courses that I paid for that I started that I didn't finish. I have to finish those three before I start something new. So I have to be honest and accountable. Let's not be out here starting projects and we don't finish, starting projects and we don't finish, starting things and we don't finish. Finish the things that you have started first so that you can give the appropriate time, attention, and focus to the things that you would like to do. Please, I'm telling you, it's an energetic, universal law thing. And I know that I have started many a thing and haven't completed it and then start something else and haven't finished that. Go back and finish the things that you started first. So there has to be honesty to gain clarity. There has to be accountability to gain clarity. And there has to be a commitment. Rachel says, I feel seen. Girl, listen, listen. I had a craft room. It's so sad. I don't even want to talk about it. It's now a craft closet because all them projects are in the closet waiting for somebody to come along and finish them. That someone is probably not going to be me. That is something else that I'm going to be honest with myself about. I know I start stuff and I don't finish it because I get excited about stuff and I'm like, "Ooh, we gonna do this," and then I get excited about something else. I'm like a squirrel. My attention is like, "Ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that?" So let's get in the habit of finishing things up before we start something new. How many books have you started before you go and buy another book? I had to tell myself, no more buying books until you finish the books that you have. And so I did cheat a little bit. I have the Libby app, which is the library app. So I will go and get another book. And I feel like, well, I didn't buy the book. I got it from the library. That's still cheating. Finish the things that you have started. Penny, you got 6 books. Penny, finish them books. Because I guarantee you, you probably have a book of your own in yourself that you could write. But maybe if you weren't putting so much time and attention to the 6 books that you have yet to finish, you might be. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Penny, finish the 6 books. Finish the books. I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. As a matter of fact, I'm making a public commitment. Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. I have started it so many times and not finished. I'm committing to finishing this book from cover to cover in 2024. And I said, if you don't do it publicly, then you're not going to do it. So that is the one book that I need to complete. Like I'll start it, it gets good, and then I'm on to something else. So that is the one book that I'm really going to devote some time and attention to this year. Well, it's probably not going to be the only book, but anyway, you heard me say it here. So, honesty, accountability, commitment, consistency. Someone else with the Libby app. Hi, how are you? Oh, you decorating gourds? Look, now that's another thing. I'm like, I wonder what's that's like. I can't decorate no gourds because I got sewing projects I haven't finished. And the other day I was like, I think I'm gonna make a quilt. How you gonna make a quilt when you've got stop it, Yolanda, stop it. You're not allowed to purchase any more books until well, that's a good goal. That's a healthy boundary. And it's something that you can work toward. I hope you Rachel, you can do it. Right, the Kindle app. So the Kindle, I had 2 or 3 Kindles. I told myself, don't you buy another Kindle. Don't do it. I took the app off of my laptop. It is still on my phone. But every time the Amazon is like, hey, here's a book you might like, I just ignore it. I delete the email. Like, stop trying to entice me into doing things that I said I didn't want to do. There's way too many books around here that haven't been read and poured into for me to be out here buying more. And as I said to Penny, and that's probably why I haven't written my own book because I'm so busy reading everybody else's stuff instead of devoting that time and attention to writing my own. But that's neither here nor there. So we have to be honest. And I'm not saying just be honest for January, February, March. I'm saying we are focusing on becoming clear. And so I hope that the exercise that I give to you in a little bit isn't one that you enter into to make yourself feel bad. We can't do that in 2024 either. This is about accountability, and accountability feels good. I'm telling you, when you are honest and truthful with yourself and you commit to doing things differently, it's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. It's a sacred thing. And so don't enter into this where you're writing down, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And how about you change and reframe the language to, I started this, write down why you loved doing it in the first place, and that I'm going to feel even greater when I finish it. I'm telling you, the completion is going to make you feel like such an accomplished adult. It really, really is. Instead of someone who doesn't want to open the closet because there's so many unfinished projects in there. It's like a reminder that your brain can't stay focused on anything for a significant amount of time. And that's not true. We are in a time period that makes that challenging because we can get whatever we want like that. So, this is an exercise in changing your mental, emotional way of doing things. I'm not saying it's going to be easy because when you get used to doing things a particular way, it can be challenging to change that habit. But that's what we're talking about, changing habits so that we are clear about who we are. Consistency and commitment are like a couple. And I love, well, I love Denzel Washington anyway, but Denzel Washington, there is a video of him saying, if you have no commitment, you will not start. If you have no consistency, you will not finish. You have to have the two. You have to be committed and you have to be consistent. I don't care if you got to put an alert on your phone. We have to be accountable for the things that we say that we're going to do. My poor plants, I hope they forgive me. And they may go in through some shock and trauma because now this morning they all got watered and fertilized and some new dirt. They might be like, what the heck is going on? We've been in this state of confusion and dehydration. We don't know what's going on. I'm hoping they survive. I'm hoping they survive. But I have to be consistent. And I used to have a regular watering schedule. Every Friday, everybody got what they needed. I stopped doing that because my time and attention and focus went into other places. And it's not that I don't have enough time. We all get 24 hours. How we choose to spend those 24 hours, however, is part of the exercise that I'm going to say in a minute. And self awareness. You have to have a level of self awareness where you're not blaming, projecting, and focused on everyone else instead of yourself. So I am asking you to be selfish for January, February, March. I am asking you to prioritize yourself. I am asking you to be more accountable for the things that you are doing or not doing. And one of the ways that we can do that is by breaking up the parts of who we are. And I don't mean literally, breaking yourself up and only looking at yourself in a particular way. I mean focusing on one aspect of who you are because they are all connected. So for this week, 7 days, for this week, I want all of us to focus on our physical reality. Did I put that in a banner somewhere? Let me see. No, I didn't, but I'm going to do it now. So for this week, we're going to focus on our physical reality. Reality. And what I mean about that is, where are you spending your time? Do you even know? Most of us who have modern cell phones, there is a way for you to go in and see what your screen time is. I was appalled yesterday. I was like, let me go in here and see how much time I've spent on this phone today. Appalled, embarrassed. If I do it right now, I'm probably still going to be appalled and embarrassed. But that's a point of accountability. You know, I have to know where I'm spending my time, my focus, and attention. I'm afraid to even really look. And I don't know about y'all phones, but my phone will break it down by app. So let me see if I can tell you. I don't care about being embarrassed. It's the truth. So here's my phone showing me. Oh gosh. So today, 4 hours. Where was that time spent? Mm. Well, the bulk of it was spent playing music because I was cleaning this morning. So that's not as bad as it has been. I spent 2 hours playing music. I spent an hour on Facebook already today. It's only, it's almost 2 o'clock. And I spent an hour. That time could have been better spent somewhere else. I spent 12 minutes on the phone, 4 minutes on Instagram, 1 minute in emails, 1 minute on photos, and less than a minute using my calculator. That's very different from yesterday. Um, but those are the kind of accountability numbers I need in my life. So paying attention all this week, use your journal so you can write down. And if you do it day by day, it's easier to track so that you can become clear about where your power is going. So 4 hours of my time has gone to my phone. This is not to make yourself feel bad. Don't do it if you're going to critique yourself in such a way where you start to feel worse than if you didn't do it at all. This is for us to become accountable and to recognize where our power is going. So we are committing to create an awareness of who we are. We're becoming clear. And so for this week, we're going to become clear about our physical reality. Where are you spending your time? So at the end of the day, maybe before you go to bed, calculate how much time did you spend in particular places? How much time did you spend in the car? How much time did you spend at your job? How much time did you spend in a place where you probably shouldn't have been, in the drive-through line getting some McDonald's? How much time? Where is your power going? Your time, your attention, your focus, your commitment, your accountability. Where is it going? I know for me, this phone takes way too much time when I could be using that in other places. Even when I'm working, sometimes I'm listening to podcasts, and I'm not saying that those are horrible to listen to, but the time and attention that it takes for me to sometimes rewind. Well, what did they say? Where was so and so on this time and day? Because I feel like I'm solving murders all day. Like I'm trying to solve a murder that's already been solved, but I'm trying to solve it before they say who it is. You know what I mean? I love true crime podcasts, and the minute they start laying out some of the suspects, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out who did it. That's a lot of time and attention for people I don't know in an environment that's not feeding into or pouring into the vision, the goal that I have for my life, unless I'm trying to be a forensic investigator, which I'm not, which I already believe that I am. But if that's not what I'm trying to be or create in my life, why am I giving so much time and attention and power to it? I also watched 3 or 4 movies yesterday. I barely moved from the couch between napping, eating, and watching movies. That's where my time and attention went to. I'm not saying those are bad things, but if I get to the end of this year and I'm like, wow, I didn't create anything, then I have to be honest because you were on the couch, you were watching movies, doing Netflix, and all of the other things. So where are you? Where are you spending your time? And is that time being spent towards your vision, your goal, and the things that you want to create for yourself in this year? Who are you spending time with? Are you spending time with people who are supporting you in those goals, who are feeding into you in a great way, who are holding you accountable? Or are you spending time with people who are like, what you doing that for, girl? Come over here and let's go spend up all our money. Or, let's go do this thing. Do you have enough focus and clarity within your life to say, that sounds great, but I have something else I have to do? My time, my attention, my commitment, and my consistency require me. My vision, my assignment requires me to be somewhere else. Thank you for the invitation, but I'm going to decline. Even if it's something you really, really want to do. I love brunch. And if somebody invites me to brunch, I'm probably going to want to go. But if that time and attention can be spent somewhere else, I'm going to have to balance that out. As a matter of fact, Beloved and I had scheduled date night on Friday, but sorry to be telling your business, he was in the middle of doing something and he wasn't finished. And even though I wanted to see that man more than anybody could know, I said, your time, your attention, and your focus needs to be on the thing that you need to complete. I'm not going anywhere. Date night can be some other time. Do what you got to do. Finish what you started because that is a priority for you. What I look like? Well, it's date night, and I was the one that said what we should do for date night, and he was like, "Well, we said we." I know what we said, But I also know that part of my responsibility in our relationship is to hold you accountable and to not put my needs above your needs. You are in them. And he said to me, I got a lot done today and I'm not finished. The minute he said, I'm not finished, I said, well, then you need to complete, because I don't ever want to be the reason why your goals, your vision, your accomplishments have not been met. Because here I am talking about, well, it's date night. We can have date night anytime if the Lord allows us to have that time and space. But we got to be clear about where our power is going. So the physical reality also means your health. Are you trying to create something in your life where you just physically are not going to be able to do it? I noticed the other day that my right side isn't as strong as my left side. And I don't know how that happened. Probably not exercising, not stretching, but for the goals that I have for myself, I'm not physically capable. So, what does it look like me pouring into something and then I'm not able to hold it up because I'm not physically where I would like to be in order for that vision, that goal to be realized? So, let me work on myself physically. Let me clear up and be very clear about my physical reality so that it aligns with the vision. So, for those of y'all, it's the first week of 2024. Did you make your doctor's appointments for your yearly exam so that you know where you are physically? When you go into your medical professional's office, are you telling them what you want to know about yourself? Or are you waiting for them to tell you what you need to know? Are you going in saying, all right, I need a full blood workup. I want to know where my vitamin D level is, my vitamin B level. These are what I want to know. These are the things that I want to know about my body. I'm not going to wait for you, Dr. So and so, to tell me what I need. This is my body. I need to know and be very, very clear about my physical reality, my health, my environment, all of those things contribute to my mental well being, my emotional well being, and my spiritual well being. But if I am not clear about what's going on with me physically, then how can I support the assignment? How can I support the vision? And this isn't about, you know, I would like to be a size 6 like I was 20 years ago. Unless that's your vision, your goal. I'm not saying that that's not a good vision or goal, but even people who are size 6 aren't necessarily physically healthy. Do you even know the status of your physical health? Yolanda, have you make the doctor's appointments this week? I'm going to ask y'all next week how many of y'all made the appointment that you need to make. Now, I also understand that for some of us, and I'm one of those, um, health insurance might be changing, things might be changing for you. And so it might take some time, but write it down and commit to it. I'm going to make the doctor's appointments that I said I was going to make last year and I never made. I'm not going to wait until I don't feel good to go to the doctor. I'm going to be proactive and go to the doctor and say, Doctor, tell me how I am physically. For a person of my age, with my level of exercise or movement, how am I? Do I even know what my bone density is? I don't. But those are things that I need to know before I go out here and try to run on somebody's treadmill or run on somebody's track. I better know if I even have the capability to do that. So before we engage in these diets and changing this and changing that, do you even know that your body is in a state of being to handle what it is that you want it to do? How many of us are like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year? Can you do it safely based upon where your body is right now? So, all this week, we are going to be very, very clear, or we're going to gain clarity, or we're going to create awareness of where our power is going. Because if you are not in a great physical or a great health state, it takes a lot of power. It really, really does. My beloved and I realized that the other day. It was like, we're doing a whole lot of sleeping. Like, we just don't seem to have the energy that we should have. That might be a physical thing. It's like I have goals and I have things. We have goals and we have things that we want to do, and we too tired to even do them. It's like I go to work, come home, fall asleep on the couch, get up and do it again. If that is something that is familiar to you, somewhere there needs to be a physical intervention, a physical reality intervention for you to say, I need to know what's going on with my body. Because how am I praying for things and creating things in my mind, in my bones, and I'm not physically capable of doing them? So we're going to get clear on where is your power going? Where are you spending your time? What kind of environments are you in? If you have to go to an environment tomorrow, your job, and it is environment that you know you can't stand, you have to do something about it. You either have to change your perspective about it or you got to change your participation in being in that environment. I wish I could say I was the type of person that when I recognize I'm in toxic environments that I create a plan. I'm not. I'm an impulse kind of person. And all of the jobs that I have left, with the exception of maybe one or two, they have not been graceful. I literally will wake up in the morning and be like, I can't go back there. And I just don't go back. And I'm not proud of that. But I also know that my behavior in the past was not one where I took the accountability of creating a plan to get out of the job or to find another job. I would wait until I was so sick and so tired that I just could not do it anymore and I would just be gone. I'm grateful that I'm at a time and a place in my life where I recognize when things are not good for me. And if I can't change my perspective about it, then I need to change the place. I need to change the interaction. I need to change the environment. So, all this week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, until we come back next Sunday, and we're going to have another reality to focus on every day. I'm asking y'all to journal in the morning, journal at night, and talk about where you would like to be, and then write where you wound up. So maybe you're writing, I would love to be in a peaceful, serene environment all day today. And then right before you go to bed or when you have a quiet moment, you write down, how did that work out? It was not as peaceful and serene as I would have liked. And this is the reason why. This happened, write it down so you can become clear because you might start to see a pattern that you're not aware of right now. You might start to see, you know what, when Janice is at work, everything is a mess. Now, I'm not saying you can do anything about Janice, but you might be more aware of what that stimulus does for your environment. But you're not going to know that if you're just doing the dance, the hustle and bustle, going through the motions, and you're not gaining clarity about what's going on around you. You know, those individuals who are in relationships and they think that they're great, and then their partner is like, yeah, I don't want to be with you no more. And they're like, it came out of nowhere. I guarantee you the signs were there. They were not paying attention. Or you were at a job and the next thing you know, they laid everybody off. I guarantee you the signs were there. You probably weren't paying attention. You know, the type of paper towels that the job uses starts to change. That's because the money is not looking the way that the money used to look. So you used to have the nice toilet paper in the ladies' room, and then they changed to the cheap paper. The signs will be there if you're paying attention. Where they start saying things like, "Oh, we're changing healthcare providers," or "Your health insurance is going to change." That's a sign that things may not be as well as you think they are. Or we're changing up no more overtime. Y'all can't do no more overtime. And you're like, what's that about? Trust me, when you start to pay attention to your physical reality, you become more aware and more clear about what is going on and how it is affecting you. So pay attention to your physical reality this week. Who am I spending time with? Where am I going? How much time am I spending on my phone? How much time am I spending on my laptop? How much time am I spending in other people's lives that I don't even know? Y'all know what I'm talking about. We spend a lot of time talking about celebrities that we don't know, that don't impact our lives, that will, why? Why? And I know that some of it is a distraction from the day to day stuff that's going on in our own lives, but we can't get to September of next year, of this year, and think, oh my gosh, it's only a couple of months until the end of 2024. What did I do this year? What did I accomplish? Where did my time go? Where was my power? That's why we're calling it Power 24, so we can reclaim and reconnect to the power that is within us. But if you are not clear about your physical reality, you're not going to be clear about anything because it's all connected. You don't know why you're so sad all the time. Well, your physical reality is connected to your mental realities, which is connected to your emotional reality, which is connected to your spiritual. It's all connected. But if you're not clear and be honest, not to brutalize yourself, but to free yourself, to free yourself. I also determined that we're actually going to meditate in this space. I call it Mama Meditations, and we don't often meditate. And so it is meditation time. It really is. That is also one of the things that I want to be more accountable about in this new space. If I have been placed in 2024, then it is my belief that my assignment has got to be not only clear, but active. I was talking to a colleague yesterday, and she said, did you make any resolutions for the year? And I said, I don't do resolutions, I do intentions. And she's like, well, what's the difference? I said, for me, intentions have action, thought, and a plan behind them. Resolutions are just something people say. My New Year's resolution is to blah, 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 blah. If you don't have an active plan in place, then you're just saying words. And so I've set some of the intentions, not all, I'm not going to rush myself, but I've set some intentions for this year. And that is to be more accountable in the places, in the spaces that I occupy. I had to be honest with myself that there are places that I occupy that I don't show up as my full self. I wait and see what's going on and then I determine how to show up. That's not real. That's not authentic. I'm going to be me in every place I enter. I'm going to have difficult conversations because they're clarifying. I like to call them clarifying conversations. I want to be clear everywhere I can be clear. I may not know why people do what they do, and it may not be for me to understand that, but I better be clear about why I'm doing what I'm doing. I better be clear about why I'm saying what I'm saying. I better be clear about the things that I am creating in my life. And every time we open our mouths, every time we behave, every time we feel, we are creating something. Be clear about what you're creating. And your journal will help you with that. Be clear about the way that you are speaking to yourself. Sometimes the toxic environment is not other people, it's right here. What you're saying to yourself, what you're thinking about yourself. And we're going to get into that when we get to the mental and emotional reality, the things that we do to ourselves. Whew. We have to be better to ourselves. So I hope that that is a goal for all of us. I hope that that is an intention for all of us to be more accountable for the way that we love ourselves. You better be good to yourself this year. If you have taken a look outside your window to see what's going on globally, you better be good to yourself this year. If you're waiting for other people to be good to you, you better be good to yourself. And right now, in this week, I want us to be good to ourselves physically. Make sure you are hydrating yourself. Make sure you are feeding yourself well, which is another reason why I had to commit to reading Sacred Woman by Queen Afua, because I recognize my diet is horrible. And within this book, she talks about your kitchen needs to look as good as, any pharmaceutical place that claims it is giving you what you need to be healthy. Like, our kitchens can sometimes be the toxic environment because we are creating and cooking things. I am filled with chocolate chip cookies right now, y'all. That's what I have for breakfast, chocolate chip cookies. I can't do that. Not with the goals and the visions that I have myself. They ain't gonna be run on no chocolate chip cookies. My goals, my vision require that the way in which I feed myself is in such a way that I can hold that vision true, and cookies are not going to do it. It's just not going to do it. So, my commitment in this space is to actually meditate. And so that's why it says meditation time. So, if you are watching this on the replay and you want to fast forward through anything else that I'm saying, so be it. Just know that we are going to meditate. And that requires us to go within. I'm holding some crystals. I'm going to put them down for a minute so that we can start to. No, Erica, I'm about to cry. I can't throw the cookies away. I just bought them yesterday. I know they're temptation, but the way I feel about chocolate chip cookies, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's my belief that I can coexist with chocolate chip cookies in a healthy way. Not to eat all of them at one time, but I can't throw them away, Erica. I can't. I just can't. Listen, listen. Y'all keep saying stuff that I'm telling you I don't have the capability. You said don't buy them anymore. I can make it a goal, but I know that goal is not going to be fulfilled in the next 3 months. I'm gonna try my best. That's what I will say about how much I love chocolate chip cookies. I will try my best. Don't buy them anymore. Oh my gosh. All right, let's meditate, y'all. I love them. And the ones that I buy are so good. God. I was about to tell you where I bought them for, but I don't want to give anybody else the bad habit that I have. I know I need to be delivered from chocolate chip cookies. It's not going to happen this week. I'm going to be completely honest. It's not going to happen until they're gone. I'm just not going to eat four of them because they're real big. I'm not going to eat four of them at one time. Okay, let's meditate. Let's start to breathe. Let's go into our bodies, that most sacred and beautiful place. Do you realize and recognize that the body that you have, the bones, the skin, the muscles, and yes, even the fat is so divine and so sacred because it contains all of who you are, yet it has its limitations. It is the place that you get to spend your life journey in. You better be good to it. So let's go into those bodies in this moment. The bodies that are filled with chocolate chip cookies, bacon, pancakes, and all of the other things that we may have eaten this morning. Yes, those bodies are still sacred. Those bodies are still divine. And yes, they deserve better nutrition. They deserve to be holy and sacred. I am going to work on my relationship with chocolate chip cookies. I've said it here publicly. I know it's going to take a lot of prayer and willpower, and that's where my power is going. I can tell you that my power is going to the chocolate chip cookies and me telling myself I have to have them. So, as we go inward to these beautiful vessels that we have been given, even if they look differently than they did a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, they are still sacred. Connect with what may be going on in your body in this moment. Yes, our inner child. I'm not even going to blame it on my inner child liking the cookies. It's big grown Yolanda. But I do believe it may be connected to me getting what I want and maybe not having that experience as much as I would have liked when I was younger. Um, because my mama would hide the cookies. She would buy my favorite cookies and then hide them. So maybe this is my rebellious self saying, I'm going to eat these cookies whenever I want to. Um, I do. Thank you, Josette. Thank you. Thank you. So, yes, it could be my inner child trying to rebel. And Joselle, I appreciate that. I so appreciate that. That y'all are here for me on my journey of separation from chocolate chip cookies. So, as we get real and honest and hold ourselves accountable about the bodies that we hold to be sacred, let us be honest in this moment about the things that we say, the things that we do to our bodies. Maybe we don't give them enough rest. Maybe we don't give them enough time and attention and love. Maybe we don't honor them by allowing them to be in places and spaces where they are honored. Let us be accountable in this moment and the moments forward where we can say, I love this body too much to allow it to be in any environment that doesn't see it as sacred, that doesn't see it as holy, including those workplaces that don't honor the work that you put forth, that don't honor your lack of resources that you have been given to do the things that you need to do. Let us acknowledge all of the environments that we go into that don't honor us, that don't honor our skin, that don't honor our gender identity, that don't honor our body identity, all of the places and spaces that don't recognize that they are in the presence of something sacred and holy, and therefore we should be respected and honored. Sometimes those places and spaces are with our own homes, which should be a sanctuary, but oftentimes are those toxic places where we don't get to feel our power and it is not reflected back to us. Let's breathe into those places and spaces where we forgot or never learned how to ask for love, honor, and respect so that our physical reality can reflect the love, honor, and respect that is within us. I know that each and every single one of us loves ourselves greatly. We may not always come from that place of awareness, but in this moment, we can declare that we will do better to honor ourselves. We will do better to prioritize ourselves, and that we will do better to ensure that the respect that we deserve comes from us and is reflected back upon us. In this moment where we are checking in with our bodies, speaking the language of our heart, let us also be mindful of our responsibility to be very clear about what our heart needs, what it desires, and that sometimes we have to give things up to get things, to allow space for things to enter into our heart. Acknowledging that there are places and spaces within our heart that we might be afraid to go because grief is there, sadness is there, pain is there, trauma is there. Let us recommit to find the courage to go into those places and spaces so that we can give the love that we deserve, so that we can put a name and a feeling, so that we're clear about what's going on in our own heart. What things do you think you are missing? What things that are already there waiting to be exposed and expressed? How can you be better to yourself? How can you be better to your body? And how will you recognize that that is one and the same? When I am better to my body, I am better to me. When I am better to me, I am better to my body. This beautiful relationship that we get to create with ourselves, our full self, our whole self. Let it be a reflection of the love that the divine, the creator, God, called by many names, has for each and every single one of us. Let me see myself as God sees me. Let me love myself as God loves me. And let me be clear about what is required to love myself greatly. Mm, I'm going to say that again. What is required for you to love yourself greatly? What is required for you to love yourself the way that God loves you? What is within your physical reality in this right now moment that you can expand upon? And what is present in your physical reality that you are looking to transform? If you know you've been playing small, ask yourself why. Who are you saving? Who are you hiding from? Who are you worried about? If we all played our part and our position with the grandness that is required of us, we wouldn't be ashamed because we're all out here being big and grand and glorious instead of hiding. Let us be honest enough with ourselves and one another to say when we are afraid and to say when we are ready to shine and to give each other grace in both of those realities. We all have a lot of hurt and a lot of shame and embarrassment that we have to grow through. Let us be clear about what it is, when it started, and what is our plan to eradicate it so that none of us are held back by shame, by regret, by doubt, by fear, or anything else that it is an illusion. Breathe into that reality, into that physical reality that the power that you possess within your body is so great, is so grand, that it really cannot be contained within the limitations of your body, and that when it is shared with others, it becomes even greater. Hmm. If I share my greatness with you and you share your greatness with me, what a creation. Hmm. So let us be mindful of the spaces that we create, the spaces that we choose to be in, and whether or not it is contributing to our power being expressed or suppressed. Can you be all that you have been created to be in the environments that you enter into? And if you cannot, are you willing to ask yourself, why am I there? If I can't be the fullness of who I am, why am I there? Why am I clipping my own wings for other people's benefit? What purpose does it serve? And how long am I going to engage in that type of behavior and that type of betrayal? Breathe into the physical reality that if there is a desire, if there is a passion, if there is a purpose that is living within your body, it can exist outside of your body if you are willing to pour into it and let it grow and let it be born, no matter what it looks like to anyone else, because it belongs to you. And as we are breathing, let us tap into those places and spaces in our body that I like to call awarenesses. You might call it pain or stress. I call it an awareness. If it is within your shoulders, then ask your body, what burden have you been carrying that you are ready to release. If it's in your hips, what support may be lacking so that you don't feel as fluid as you would like to feel. Maybe you feel restricted. If you feel it in your knees, again, what thing are you standing on that does not feel supportive? If you feel it in your back, what unconscious experience have you not connected to that is asking for some freedom? That stress, that strain that may be held in our backs, maybe things that we want to put behind us, that we want to deny, that we want to hide. You might need to go there, enter into those places and spaces to free yourself. If you feel it in your chest, you feel it in your hands, you feel it in your arms, that might be in your heart space. There's something on your heart that you haven't been able to release. Check in with your physical body so that it can tell you what it needs to tell you, so that you start to pay attention to the tension that's in your body that's there telling you something. Don't forget to breathe deeply and profoundly so that you can expand the oxygen in your body that contributes to the way you think and the way you feel. You can't do those big grand things if you breathe in with limited and short breaths. And if there is a physical limitation that doesn't require you to move in the way that you used to move, then please, please, please access the professionals, the support that you need to increase your capacity if it's possible. And trust and believe if it's possible for you to feel better, if that possibility exists for you to have more range of motion, for you to have more energy, for you to have more expansive mental capacity, if it is possible, then it's possible. There's an opportunity for you to create that. You might need assistance, you might need support, but if the opportunity or the possibility exists, then put your time, your attention and focus on that. Because your big dreams are going to require you to be physically capable of holding them up, of staying the course. If your attention span is not where it used to be, then that is a requirement for you to increase your capacity to sustain on something for a particular amount of time. You may not be used to it, but it may be a habit that you are going to have to create in your life in order to hold up that vision, hold up that dream. And so, even if the goal is no more chocolate chip cookies, then you have the capacity to do so. If you keep telling yourself no, then that's going to be your reality. Reframe how you see it so you can see it differently and create a different reality for yourself. And so the time and the attention that we place, we have to be clear about where it's going. Pay attention to your skin, pay attention to your eyes, pay attention to your physical body. It's going to show you something. It really is. It's going to show you what you're either paying attention to or not paying attention to. I'm always amazed by when people go online and they show you their skin routine. I'm like, wow, y'all doing a lot to y'all skin. But that's why it looks the way it looks, because they have made a commitment. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to apply my moisturizer. Those people made a commitment. We think it's not going to just pop up and be that way. We have to put action towards it. And so when you do your writing, when you're writing in your notebook, in your journal, and you start to go day by day, and you're like, wow, I spend a lot of time doing a lot of foolishness that could be better spent in other places. One of the things that I ask when I have one on one clients is I ask them, how much time you spend on your phone? How much time are you here? How much time are you in other people's business? Because when you start to add that up and you recognize, oh my gosh, I have given my power over to something that is keeping me powerless. And I'm actively participating in it. Now, I love a good podcast. I love a good movie. I love a good show. But I love me. And I love the dreams and the visions and things that I've written on the wall. Like, y'all can't see it, but there's stuff all over my walls. Like, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. How are you going to do these things if your time and attention is in places and spaces that are not getting you anywhere near these things? You're so busy in a celebrity's life. Unless you plan on being a celebrity publicist or something, why are you spending so much time worrying about who's doing what with whom when you're not clear about what you're doing in your own life? It's an easy distraction from the realities that we have. My realities look like bills. My realities look like grandbaby girl. That's my reality. Like, that's what requires my time and attention. And if I'm worried about some celebrity I ain't never gonna meet, that's time I'm taking away from my family, my friends, the people who really mean something to me. And if we get together and all you want to talk about is other people, we wasting time. Let's talk about what's going on in your life, in your heart. Is there something that you want to share that you haven't shared with anyone that you need to release? We have time and opportunity to do that now. And I know yesterday I spent a lot of time trying to solve murders that have already been solved, trying to figure out love stories that ain't got nothing to do with my own love story. And it was a nice distraction from the reality that I have Monday through Friday. It's like, I don't want to think about little people, their parents, curriculum. I don't want to think about those things. But when I started to write down the things that I do want in my life, I'm like, oh, girl, you got to clear some stuff up. I literally had to go in my phone and delete photos that were taking up space in my phone of people that I don't even know. Like, sometimes I will take pictures for other people. I'll give them the photos, but why am I keeping it on my phone? Get that stuff off. Just clean and clear up the places and spaces in your life so that you can increase your capacity for the things that you desire. Right now, son-in-law, I don't know if my daughter and my son-in-law are listening. I'm looking at his weed whacker that's been here for longer than it needs to be. It's occupying space. We got to get it out of here. How many of us are holding things for people that get in the way of your capacity to hold your own stuff? You can't even hold your own stuff because you got other people's stuff. Clean out your trunk of your cars that got other people's stuff in there. Your kids' stuff, your parents' stuff. Listen, we can't do that anymore unless you have more than enough space and it's not in the way. But if you are being honest with yourself and saying, you know what, I would love to put a treadmill in my spare bedroom, but my kids' stuff is in there, you need to call your grown adult children and tell them to come get their stuff so that you can increase the capacity for the things that you desire. If your wife, and you know what, let me not say wife, if your partner has clothes that they have not worn in 10 years and you can't even get the stuff that you wear on a day-to-day basis in the closet, they got to get that stuff out of there. Get it out. Get it out. You're not getting back in those dresses. You're not getting back in those pants. And even if you could get back into them, they're out of style. Get rid of it. Get rid of your stuff. Yolanda, finish the craft things that are in the closet so that you can actually put clothes in the closet instead of on a rack because you ain't got no room in your closet. Like there's so many closets in this house. I shouldn't see a piece of clothing anywhere. But there's other stuff in those closets. We have to be very, very clear about our physical reality so that we can increase our capacity in other areas. Because how do I know that if I clean my closets out, I might find something that I need to support the dream, the vision? How do I know that if I get rid of some of these things that I don't need, that it won't increase my capacity to hold the things for the very thing that I say that I want? How do I know? I don't. I could be walking down the street, and not that I'm ever walking down the street, but I could be walking down the street and someone could be like, hey, I've got all of these things for free or for sale for whatever, and you can have them for, that dream you say you got. There's something that I have, a vision that I have, and I know it's going to require furniture. I can't even take that stuff because I got stuff in the way blocking my dream, blocking my vision. I hope all of this is making sense. I hope it is making sense. And so you're going to get some time to write in the morning because that's your time. When you get up in the morning, that's your time. Hopefully, it's the time that you spend with your spiritual connection, whether that is to God or some other ritual that you engage in before you head out the door. Hopefully, you're taking that time to also say, this is how I want my day to look. This is how I want my physical reality to look today. I want to encounter happy people. I want to create happiness wherever I go. I want to discover something new about myself. Like whatever it is that you write doesn't have to be all poetic. You can write down, I want to be able to get through the day without cussing somebody out. That might be your goal. And at the end of the day, you get to look and see, did it happen? And if it did not happen, why? What got in the way? Start to document these things so that you can see if there's, some systemic things going on. You can start to see if you start to see things differently. Pay attention this week to your physical reality, where you are, how much time you're spending in particular places, who are you with, what is your physical health look, what does your skin look like, what do your eyes look like? Did you ever get the prescription for your glasses filled? No, I didn't. Why are we not taking care of ourselves in the best way possible? Start to write all of those things down, and then when we come back next Sunday, there will be another reality that we're going to pay attention to, because for January, February, March, we're gaining clarity. We cannot start this year off in confusion. Please, let's not start this year off in confusion. Let's be clear so that if anybody asks, what is your goal for this year? You already know what it is. But if you don't, that's okay. We're going to work on it. All right, we went long today. I appreciate y'all supporting me with my chocolate chip cookie addiction. Um, it's going to be challenging for me to get off of here and not go in that kitchen and eat one, but I'm going to commit and I'm going to report to y'all if I did not eat the cookie. I'll be so happy to tell y'all next Sunday, but if I did eat the cookie, I'm going to tell the truth. I hope to not eat another chocolate chip cookie today. That's my commitment to all of you. Please keep me accountable. If you've got to send me a message like don't you eat that cookie, then please do so. Um, I appreciate it. And if there's something that we collectively can hold you accountable for, again, it's not to beat you up. It's good to have accountability partners. It's good to have people in your life that will ask you questions, that will challenge you to say, but that's not what you said you wanted to do. I thought you were doing ABC and you over here doing XYZ. So if you don't have people in your life right now to keep you accountable, and this space can do that for you, let me know. Oh, okay. Now I'm on Instagram. And look at all these questions. Can you share the things? Yes, I will. Okay. Look at that. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Faye. That's what I'm talking about. Keep me accountable. Okay, I'm going to show that one more time. To gain clarity, we're going to be honest. And people like to say brutally honest, but honesty should never be brutal. The truth should never, the truth can be painful, but it's not to hurt you. It's to open your eyes up to the reality that is present. So we're going to be honest with ourselves. I'm being honest about the cookies, y'all. I'm thinking about them right now. They are so delicious. But we're going to be honest about the places and the spaces that we're spending our time in our physical reality. We're going to be accountable. And for me, accountability is the ability to account for what I am doing. If I know I'm doing something contrary to what I said I was going to do, then I have to be honest about that and own up to it. Ownership. I'm telling you, it's not a pain. Accountability is not a painful word. It is a beautiful word. Commitment. Write it down. Write it down. I commit to whatever it is that you are committing to. And as my beloved Denzel Washington says, commitment doesn't mean anything if you're not consistent. He says, if you don't commit, you will never start. If you're not consistent, you will never finish. And remember, we are starting and finishing. So if you say you're going to do something, like I said, I'm not going to eat any cookies today. I'm doing it day by day, y'all. Today. Then I have to be consistent in that hour by hour. Every time I go over there where the cookies are at, I have to be consistent and say, you said you weren't going to do that. And self awareness. Self awareness to me is I'm not blaming other people, I'm not projecting my issues onto other people. It's me becoming aware of how I contribute to particular things in my life. So if I'm not making the money that I feel that I should make, I have to have the level of self awareness to say, well, what have you done about it? Why do you think that is? And it can't be, well, my job's just not paying me. Then why are you in that job? Like you have to have I'm not saying that people don't do things to other people. They do. This is self awareness where it doesn't involve other people. It's you becoming so self aware about how you contribute to particular things. You are aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior. And all of these are cousins: honesty, accountability, commitment, consistency, self awareness, but they're to gain clarity. And why are we gaining clarity? So we can see where our power is going. If you want to use your power to push yourself to another place, you have to be clear about where it has been going. So you can stop saying, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough. So all of those things can be canceled out because when you're clear about who you are, you can't say you're not enough. Okay? Hey, anytime is the right time. Anytime is the right time. And the fact that it's recorded is so beautiful. I hope that helped, Faye. Um, Let me see. You know what? I'm going to take this and I'm going to post it on my Instagram so that it's there. And I'm going to pin it so if you have to refer back to it. But this week, now for January, February, March, it's all about clarity. But for this week, it's your physical reality. And it doesn't mean that we won't touch back on this again. We will, but I want us to focus. Where am I spending my time? Who am I spending my time with? How am I spending this time? Now, for those of you who love a good movie, listen, if you're trying to write a screenplay, then watching movies may be beneficial to you. But if you're not trying to write a screenplay, you're not trying to act, you're not trying, if you know it's a distraction, be honest about it and say, I'm keeping myself busy. because I don't want to think about the bills. I don't want to think about the taxes. I don't want to think about that man. I don't want to think about that woman. I don't want to think about those kids. I don't want to think about all of the things that really need my time and attention. So I'm going to distract myself with things that are pleasurable: movies, chocolate chip cookies, drinking, smoking, whatever it is. Just be honest about it. Okay? I love y'all. I really, really, really do. Truly. And I'm grateful. I am so grateful that you have, for whatever reason, you have chosen to spend time with me in 2024. That's huge to my ego. But more important, it's huge to my heart. And it makes me feel like the assignment that has been placed within me is being fulfilled, that I'm doing my work. Oh, yes, honey, tell us what you've been doing. Reading more books, writing in your journal. And listen, I am not a financial wellness wizard, but I can tell you that that is a part of your reality that's intertwined into the physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. When your money is not right, your mind is not right. When your money is not right, physically, you may not feel well. At least that's what's true for me. When your financial picture is not where you want it to be, it absolutely will impact you physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, because it's how we all survive. If you're not able to pay your bills, if you have, debt that feels like it's hanging over you like a monster, it will eat away at you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So, yes, tea time beauty. Improving financial wellness is not necessarily something that I can talk about in this space because that's not my ministry, but I know some people who are very good at it. And sometimes they show up in this place and space. And if there is someone, please don't be a scammer, but if there is someone that is your ministry, financial wellness, please comment so that those of us who are here can follow you for that piece. I can, talk about the physical, the spiritual, the mental, and emotional piece. Financial piece, that's not my ministry. I'm gonna have to give that to those who can do numbers. I don't like math. So I'm grateful for. And if you know of someone, send them my way because maybe we'll have that in this space. Because part of power is being accountable in every area of your life. And if you know you're not an accountable financial being, and I will raise my hand, I know I'm not an accountable financial being. I try my best, but it's really not my best area. But yes, the financial trauma narrative. Sometimes that gets handed down generation by generation by generation. I was having that conversation with my beloved about New Year traditions that those of us in the Black community uphold, the cooking, the cleaning, and all of those things. And I said, the interesting thing about some of those traditions, they were rooted in fear. It's like, you got to do this or this won't happen. You got to do this or that won't happen. And if I'm going to participate in a tradition, I don't want it to be from an energy of fear. So it doesn't mean that I stop the tradition. It means I do it in a way that doesn't make me say, if I don't do these things, then these things won't happen. It's let me clean my house because it's a good thing to do, not because I'm afraid that my blessings won't come in or any of those things. And so yes, I am also ready to let go of the financial trauma. And that also is being clear that some of the things that we do, the behaviors, the habits that we do are rooted in fear. Some of the traditions that we have, it's rooted in fear, y'all. And we have to be honest about it. Mama and daddy did the best that they could, but a lot of their motivation was inspired by fear. And we don't have to do that. So let's release ourselves from that. And a lot of that releasing can be done in your writing. So please get your journals, take your journals. It don't have to be, something that you purchase for $45. It could be a simple notebook from the dollar store. Write it down so you can see it. It will be a cathartic experience. Yes, we are only doing things out of power and discernment, not fear. All right, my loves, I could stay on here all day, and it's probably better than me trying to walk past those cookies in my kitchen. But I'm gonna be strong. Pray for your sister. I'm going to be strong. I'm holding my crystals as we speak, and I'm gonna make a right and go the other way. I'm not even gonna make a left towards the cookies. I'm gonna walk out this room and go right because it's the right thing to do. And I might even have my you know what? I'm gonna put the cookies in the freezer. I'm gonna put them in the freezer so that they're not even some. I'm not throwing them away because in an emergency I might need them, but I will put them in the freezer. How about that? But thank you for having the kindness within you to even be concerned about me and my chocolate chip cookie addiction. I'm a hold, Rachel. I'm gonna try my best. I love you too, Papa. I love you. I really do. You said talk to the cookies. Let me tell you something. If I talk to the cookies are gonna talk back like, don't believe none of that. I love you, girl. I know they are. I'm just gonna put them in the freezer and that's it. I'm not gonna think about them. I'm not. I'm not. I'm telling y'all, I'm coming back here next Sunday. I'm gonna be like, guess what? I did not eat the cookies. I love y'all. Like, share, and all of the other things that they say you're supposed to say at the end of a video. I appreciate you. I love y'all. Be good to yourself while you're doing this discovery of your physical reality. Please be good to yourself. This is for you to love yourself greater, not for you to bash or critique or criticize anything you have done or anything you will do. This is for you to love yourself. Do all things in love. I love you. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all next week.